Really fun thing called demonstrator theater, and they get some of the top demonstrators to teach us some new techniques that we can use at card classes. So 3 of these ideas came from convention, and the first 2 cards that I've made is by Michelle Zindorf, and she has a blog where she just mainly does tons of Braille cards, and right now she has a free tutorial on her website because she's at Founder Circle. It's an older project, but she now charges for her. She used to have free tutorials at the time. So she did this presentation, and it's a pretty fun card. So we're going to start with this one first. And this uses a Festival of Trees stamp set, and it has a matching punch, so you can get it as a bundle right now. Tuck that aside. And this is actually a direct paper technique, which means we're going to drag the ink pad on your paper basically. So I'm just starting with a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I've taken a Post-it note, and I've torn off the edge because I'm trying to create a snowbank effect and attached it to my card. So step 1 for this card is you want to take Pool Party ink, and we're just going to lightly drag it along the top to create a sky. Okay, step 1. Step 2, we're going to take Pool Party ink, and I'm going to put a heavy layer now with this, and I find I have to hold it this way, oops, or else it slips, and then I get a funny edge. And fill it in like so. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is take my Festival of Trees stamp and ink it up with Island Indigo ink. And I just want the tree tops on this, which is why I need the Post-it note. So I'm going to put 1 tree top here, stamp a second little tiny tree top, and then a third one off to the side so it looks like this. And then watch when I pull off the mask. Can you see the little itty bitty trees?
Beautiful.
Now I'm going to put this back down, take a little sponge dauber with Pool Party ink, and I'm going to hold this at an angle and create a snowbank. And you have to use a really light hand for this part, or else you get too much ink. And then it looks a little weird. Okay, so there's my snowbanks now. And my next step is I'm going to put a full tree at the bottom. Okay, and that's basically the card. Look how beautiful that is. And then I added some Dazzling Diamonds glitter just with my 2-way glue pen. So if I just take my glue pen, 2-way glue pen, drag it along my snowbanks, sprinkle on my glitter, I then get this look. Okay, and the greeting is from the same stamp set, and it's just a little bit of Silver's Baker's twine that I added with the glue dot. And the embossing folder's new, and I think it's called Filigree Frames, and it's in the catalog as well, and that's just Pool Party. So 3 colors, basic card, but it's really pretty and it's effective. Looks like a big wow. Okay, now this card I think is really fun. I've done it just with 2 different backgrounds. So we need to use a brayer. Has everybody used their brayer?
Not enough.
Okay, I know, it's fun to do these cards. I love brayer techniques. Make sure it's dry. Okay, step 1, I am using crushed curry ink, and when you use your brayer, you want to brayer in one direction. Don't go back and forth. If you go in one direction, the whole thing gets inked up. And I am just going on the card with my crushed curry. I want it a little bit darker. Okay, to get that sort of an effect. And then I'm now going into Tangelo Twist. And we'll go over it like that. Now I have 2 colors. This creates sort of a sunset background. The next color is going to be Cajun Craze, and I'm only adding a little strip on the top. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. And then my 4th color will go on the bottom of my cardstock. The cardstock is 4x4, and this is Mossy Meadow. Okay, and that's what it looks like. So that doesn't look pretty yet, but if you give it a second, I'm going to add some pumpkins now. So now I'm using the Fall Fest stamp set, and again, this is another bundle, and you can get the framelits with it and save 15% when you buy the bundle. And you have to make sure with these photopolymers that your Stays-On ink is really juicy. Otherwise, I find you don't get a nice solid image when you stamp with it. And see if I can get it working. Okay, so I am going to stamp a pumpkin right about here. Oh, it worked this time. Also, when you're using photopolymer stamps, if you use this sheet from your clear glass blocks, it makes a huge difference for getting a nice solid image. I didn't on my first card, and I have a few.
Is that from the case?
Yeah,
from
it's from the case. It's the inside of your block case.
Oh, okay.
Another thing I'm doing is masking. So I have stamped my pumpkin on a Post-it note. This part is still sticky, and then cut it out. And then I'm going to cover my pumpkin. And then we'll stamp this larger pumpkin over top. And you get this sort of an effect. So it looks like the big pumpkin is behind your first pumpkin when you do that, when you mask it off. And then for my greeting, I'm using the Something Something stamp set. And I'm stamping Let's Celebrate. And then on the bottom, I thought it didn't look very cute, so I wanted to add some leaves. So I'm taking Mellow Moss ink, and I'm just going to stamp some leaves at the bottom of the card. And that's it. So what do you think of that card? And then you just mount it on black, and then I wrapped some baker's twine around it, and then put it on my card base. So super easy. And if you change the colors, you could actually do a winter scene with Christmas trees. So it's got a lot of possibilities with this type of card. And then the next card I'm going to show you is another fun technique that we learned. So this one uses the Ornamental Pine stamp set. And I'm just using very vanilla cardstock. Put that in the right section. And I'm going to stamp the pine bough, so I think it's a pine bough, with crumb cake ink, just on the cardstock. I'll stamp it right about there. And then I'm going to stamp the acorn and chocolate chip ink. And then I wanted it to be more of a blurred image, so I took my aqua painter, put water on the inside, so make sure it's a little wet. It doesn't have to be too wet though, because we are coloring on very vanilla cardstock, not watercolor paper. And I'm going to color with ink, so if you close your ink pad, squeeze the lid, you then get a pool of ink on the top of your lid that you can color with. And I just quickly, I did this really fast, just sort of colored it in between the, I don't know what these are called. I guess the needles. Thank you. We'll color in between the needles, and it just makes it look more blurred. And then I did the same thing with the chocolate chip color. And we'll just let that dry. Okay, now this is the fun part. You can go to the hardware store and get, it's called self-adhesive fiberglass repair fabric. So it's for drywall. It's basically drywall tape, I think they call it. And it comes in a big roll. And I've just cut this off, and I'm going to lay it over my image. And then I have taken a spritzer and put in rubbing alcohol, half filled with rubbing alcohol. 5 drops of crumb cake ink, 5 drops of chocolate chip ink, and 2 with black, which was totally accidental. Didn't mean to do that, but it still works. And then I will spray it in here. That's what I mean. You gotta watch out. Whew. And then watch when you pull it off. Can you see the fun background? So it creates a really fun background. And I've used that about 4 times, so it is reusable. And then I'll just let that dry, and I'm going to stamp the greeting with Encore ink. It's a little wet right now, so I would just take a heat tool at home and do it. So stamp the greeting with gold Encore ink, emboss it with gold embossing powder, and it looks really nice when you put it on the brush gold cardstock. And then that's basically it for the card. Okay, so that's one technique you can try. And then the last card I have to show you uses the seasonally scattered stamp set. So this is really fun because we're going to create a 2-toned color with it. And I am using Wisteria Wonder ink and Blackberry Bliss. So I first of all put Wisteria Wonder over the whole stamp. Then you take your sponge dauber, pick up a little bit of Blackberry Bliss ink, And I'm just going over the word Mary. Don't go over the whole thing or else you'll cover up your lighter color. So you don't need to put on very much. And then I have already punched out some paper with the angled tag topper punch. It's 2 inches by 4.5 inches. And then I'll just stamp my greeting on it. And that's how you get your 2 colors. The next thing I did was take our feather framelit with some silver glitter paper, punched it out with the feather, and then added some silver baker's twine. And then I'll just put this on with a glue dot. And my card base is the Northern Flurries embossing folder. So this would actually be a great Stamp-A-Stack card because it's quick, easy, and it's got a big wow. And you could do it in blues and greens. And another common color combination that's nice is crushed curry and Tangelo twist. That's really nice for fall colors. And again, Valentine's, you could do blushing bride, real red. So it's really fun. Oh, and I also used, has everyone seen the frosted sequins yet that we sell? I've been putting them on with mono multi-glue, but I find that the glue's been oozing out the center and it leaves it a little sticky. So glue dots work really well. And someone else told me that they've been using the two-way glue pen.
Yeah.
And it works.
Crystal effects works really good and then it's not tacky after.
Oh.
So your cards don't stick together.
Okay, so I'll try that too. So there's a
The
couple
glue
other
dots
ways
work
to do
fine
that.
except for the smaller sequence. The glue dots
Too
are
big?
a little bit big. So you kind of have to
Okay.
roll them in and
Yeah.
use the two.
And I did make videos for these techniques, like 2-minute videos, and I'm going to put them on my blog next week, probably starting Tuesday. So if you wanted to follow along and make one of those pumpkin cards at home, you can see what I did again. And my blog address I put on my cardboard, it's Karina's Creations. And if you just Google that name, it should come up and you can check it out. So I'll have most of the instructions for you on there. And that's it, so I hope you enjoyed the cards.
Thank you.